Hello, welcome. We're playing some ranked and we're on the verge of Diamond 5 and we're playing with Asteroid Shaman. So let's get into the game. We'll speak about the deck once we're in game. The idea of the deck is you're going to shuffle as many asteroids into your deck as quickly as possible before the opponent gets their win condition. And then hopefully you get a bow-live behemoth to buff up the asteroids permanently.
This is not my first guerrilla war.
I think we actually keep the bow-live behemoth here. Question is, do we keep everything else? We get 2 coins out of it, which is very useful because we can play behemoth plus coin. And I think we're playing warrior. I think we can get away with this. It looks very strange keeping these cards. The rationale is I played 2 greedy partners to get 2 coins. Turn 2 and turn 3. Turn 4 I play the bow-live behemoth. Play 2 coins and triangulate. Or not even that. Maybe this, now that we've drawn this, maybe just would play greedy partner followed by this. Followed by the behemoth plus 2 coins. We've got a coin in our starting hand. We're going 9 and 5 with this deck so far, which is pretty good. 64% win rate. We had quite easy climb from Diamond 10 till here. Lost, I think, 1 or 2 games on the climb. I think the rest of them were before, not 100% sure. Yeah, I think we just play this. Now, it's interesting this. It says deal 3 damage to an enemy minion and shuffle 3 asteroids into your deck. You can actually just have the second part of the battle cry, as you see now.
None can comprehend the expanse of my power.
Question is, do we take it slow? I think we can take it slow here.
None can comprehend the expanse of my power.
I hope we've gone extremely behind because we've kept the bow-live behemoth. We're in a very, very strong position here. So if we had 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, we could play this and that and double coin into this, which would be absolutely devastating. So should we hold out till then?
You are but a blip in space-time. Gravitational wave.
So I'm going to save the triangulate for when we've got spell damage. So just play this in the meantime. Drew an asteroid. Oh.
Cosmic quake. Cosmic quake.
So it could go 2, 3. Oh, this is beautiful. We go 2 mana, 3 mana, that's 5 mana. We take an extra mana, play triangulate. Perfect. This is really good. Okay, this works perfectly. We play this. This.
Witness true arcane.
So now our asteroids cost 1, do 3 damage, 4 damage while this is still on the board. And hopefully we'll draw quite a lot of asteroids now.
You will fall to Oblivion's blade.
So if it's going to do 4, I want to do damage with this. And now let's see if this works. Good, so that's off the board, so all the other asteroids are going to go face. And we don't get any more asteroids.
Fall to Oblivion's blade.
Let's tell Complain Syndius plus this. He's clearing the whole board here with the.
There's always room.
Oh, he's not? That is strange. Oh, he's just armoring up. Wow. Okay, I didn't expect that. Huh. Not the best.
Cosmic quake.
Got no way of drawing cards here, so.
Impressed by my thunderous
You will fall to Oblivion's blade.
Right. I was pretty sure he was setting up for what's it called? Let's just throw these damage spells in while we've got spell damage. While we've got spell damage, let's just do the extra damage, get it over and done with. Okay.
All in.
Actually, go for lethal if we get lucky and get the spell damage totem here. And we get it! Wow, lucky. We get exactly lethal.
Fall to Oblivion's blade.
Nice. Okay. We gotta just keep the pressure on before they can get their stuff together. Surprised he didn't have his Ziliax, to be honest. Okay. 3 stars. Yeah, so keeping the... it's not recommended to keep the bow light, the 4 mana card. But I think in certain matchups, I think it's very good to keep it.
Thunder King.
This one,
The Thunder King.
I think this one we go all out for the asteroids.
This is not my first guerrilla war.
Alright, I think we keep these two.
Beats.
Do we keep this just in case? We've got 2 forms of card draw. I think we keep that just in case we're facing an aggro shaman. Even though I don't think we have to be worried too much about aggro shaman with this deck. So we've got a rush minion. So we've got 3 damage to match whatever he's got here. Alright, so he's letting us play our totem unopposed. We coin out the elemental, which does 3 damage. Let's ping this off.
None can comprehend
Ah,
the of my
the predictions. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Look at this. So we can just go face with this. Use the 2 rushes to take out the 3/2. Right, so we're looking for. Oh, nice. Wasting an asteroid already. We want him to use. We want him to accidentally draw the asteroids before he can use this card, triangulate, to shuffle them back into my deck. So we've got. Okay. So we're gonna have to trade one of the local salesmen here because we need to get a spell. Hope we get something good. Okay, we'll shuffle these in. That's fine.
Balance of my power.
So if he kills this, we can play the Bola Behemoth or one of them, and just play the Snake Oil just to activate the spell burst. And then turn 6, we can actually play the Bola Behemoth with this spell over here. So, looking good. That looks desperate. He's used up a whole turn on that. Yeah, I'm not waiting on
Space time. Gravitational wave.
Okay. So we can actually push off next turn since we've got this in our hand now. Draw a shadow block as well. Maybe we play the shadow block and then we'll play this afterwards with that, which makes our asteroids do 3 damage more. Which will bring it up to 6 damage per asteroid, which is almost unbeatable.
Witness true arcane magic.
Okay. Oh wow, he's got ancestral knowledge. Very interesting. He's got 3 damage there. Yeah, so we just play this now.
Space time. Gravitational wave.
Oh dear, it's a tricky decision this. Do we leave the spell damage up? I don't think we can.
I must ponder.
Can't leave the stat of spell damage up against this other deck. We're talking about 6-7 extra damage. Right, so what? He what? He played it cold? Okay, it's a massive mistake. I'm going to shuffle these in. Now these do 5 damage. So we could just play this. We could just triangulate now. Triangulate. I think we just kill this off and then we could just play this, send everything face, yeah. Okay. Right, now we draw 2 spells besides the effect we have. Remember, that's all counted as drawing 1 spell, so draw another spell. There we go, lethal. Perfect. Very nice. There's something wrong with the window here. Just realised. That's annoying. Alright, hope it doesn't affect the game too much. Alright, right, so we're up to Diamond 5. So a quick look at the deck. Just fix this window here. Okay. Pretty easy run to Diamond 5 with this deck. Now let's have a look at the... Actually, speaking about the deck and looking at the mulligans. Okay. Some really good decks out there at the moment. I don't think the game can be balanced anymore. There's always going to be some very dominant decks and some other ones, even though they're fun archetypes, will not be playable. competitively anyway. Plague Death Knight, very sad situation. Even Sith Mage, it's got such powerful tools. It's still the same Sith Mage as before with more tools, but it's been overtaken by some other decks which are just way too powerful. Look at Asteroid Shaman. So the idea of the deck is shuffle your asteroids into deck. Once they're drawn, they do 2 damage, but that's not taking into account any spellbound damage which you have on the board or any buffs, which we'll have a look at. So we've got 3 cards which shuffle directly into the deck. So this shuffles 3 asteroids. It's just a regular two mana card which does that without any fancy effects. Then you've got the 3 mana card which actually you can target an enemy minion, so you can actually play for value, shuffling the asteroids into the deck at the same time as tempo by having a 3 mana 3/2 which does 3 damage. That's ridiculous. I just realized. How can I have a 3 mana 3/2 which does 3 damage? Even if you ignore the shuffling business. A card which did something similar. It's in wild. Alright, whatever. I think it was a 4/3 which did the same thing. Alright, kind of power creep. Crazy. Wow. Okay. And then of course you've got the Bolide Behemoth, which for some reason the stats jump up another 4 health when you get to this. This doesn't make sense either. A 4 mana should be 3/5, possibly 3/6 if it doesn't have an effect. But this is your asteroids deal 1 more damage this game, and you spell burst it. You shuffle 3 of them into your deck. So in this deck we've got theoretically 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and we can also shuffle 3 copies into the deck with Triangulate, discover a different spell from your deck, which you can only obviously play after we shuffle the asteroids in. So we can get up to 24 asteroids in the deck if you use all the cards which we've got at our disposal. But that's not all. If you manage to combine it with Shadow Block, you can get 30 or even 36. So we're talking about ridiculous numbers here, right? And that's all 36 asteroids, right? We haven't said how much damage they do yet. Now, if you got a very incredible synergy with this deck, as you saw, that's how we got lethal in the last game. The Ethereal Oracle, it gives you, you've got 1 spell damage. You draw 2 spells from your deck, and if they're the asteroids will draw another card, so you could get a whole chain of them going. So you draw 2 spells, and if you draw the asteroids, you'll be drawing 2 cards as well. And you want card draw this deck to get into your key cards as soon as possible, because it's not an expensive deck. This you can get everything together pretty quickly. And we've got a lot of cheap spells in the deck to activate the spell burst of Ethereal Oracle and the Bolide Behemoth, which are, you've got the very versatile Miracle Salesman. So the Snake Oil you can actually use with spell damage for a bit of damage, and because you cast a spell you trigger the spell burst which we just mentioned. Or of course you can use it for card draw like most other decks do. Amazingly underrated card. Such a very good card, this. And then you've got other 1 cost spells. You've got Pop-Up Book, which does damage. You can go face as well. I think we saw with the Warrior game there. We did that. And of course it triggers the spell bursts. Now on top of that, we've got Greedy Partner, which can give you, because we've got loads of 2-drops, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, about 10 2-drops, 12, well, 12 if you include Greedy Partner itself. So you've got potentially another 11 possibilities of getting a second 2-drop on turn 2. And once you play the greedy partner, you've got a coin, and you can again combine it with your spell burst. Another one to combine with a spell burst. So you've got lots of ways of triggering spell. That's why I was absolutely shocked when he played his 3/6 without. He played it without triggering the spell burst, which in the mirror matches is almost like giving up. Maybe he just had a terrible hand. He had to try something. But even that was a terrible try, because I had 2 minions on board with 3 attacks, so he knew that I could definitely remove it and he wouldn't trigger the spell burst. So I'm not sure why he did that. Anyway, so the rest of our deck, and we've got Magna, a Malted Magna as well for another cheap spell. And we get 3 of them because it's a drink spell. Right, so that's how you can trigger the spell bursts. And then we got some other cheap minions, just so we can do something if we get unlucky Mulligan. So we've got a rush minion here with the 1/1 rush, produced by another 1/1, which we get to keep on the board for the next turn. We've got Cactus Cutter, draws a spell again. And we're hoping that most of the spells in our deck will be asteroids, so that means we're going to draw the asteroid and hopefully it'll hit the right targets, preferably face in most cases, because that's your win condition. So the asteroids to go face. And anything else in your deck is there to make sure the minions don't absorb the asteroids if possible. You've got Needle Rock Totem, more card draw. You've got Triangulate, even more card draw. Yeah, you discover. So if you the way this works, if you discover a spell from your deck, and and you shuffle 3 in. So if you discover an asteroid, you'll draw that asteroid, which will do its 2 or maybe 3 or 4 damage. Shuffle 3 asteroids into the deck, so you gain 2 asteroids effectively, right? But the other thing is, once you draw that asteroid, it's not just going to draw the asteroid, it will actually draw a card after the asteroid. So it's actually a draw engine, technically, this card. This is another form of card draw, combined with the shuffling effect, combined with the damage effect. So it's just, there's so much synergy in this deck, it's kind of ridiculous. It reminds me of, if you go a few years back, of the Rush Demon Hunter. Everything synergized perfectly with each other, right? You had the card draw, which was triggered by the weapon, and the weapon was depends on outcast cards, and the outcast cards synergized with you had the outcast cards, which reduced costs of the cards, which made it easier for you to do big combo turns. I think it got to Legend with Rush Demon Hunter, with Halveria, I think it was, as a main win condition. Right, then we've got Magatha. Magatha is an interesting one. Since we're not running many spells, you could just play this if somehow you're just drawing badly. But the main thing is that you want to draw your asteroids with them, because you don't give your asteroid to your opponent. You instead, when Magatha draws a spell, then let's say pop-up book, then your opponent will actually get that spell that he can use that pop-up book for his own benefit. However, with asteroid, you do give the asteroid to your opponent, but in his face, or on one of the minions anyway. So that's a really nice effect. You can draw 5 cards and potentially draw a whole load of asteroids if you're lucky. It's good as a last resort as well. If you need to draw all those asteroids in one turn, then this is the way to do it. Gorgonath, just a very good card, versatile. Alright, and then we've got Shutterblock and Incendious. So Shutterblock you could play, and then you could Ideally, the best card to play with Shadow Block, besides Incendious, it could be even better than Incendious, is a Bowlight Behemoth, because that makes your asteroids, instead of doing two damage or 3 damage once you play the Bowlight, they'll actually do 5 damage, and that's not including spell damage. So if you can do that combo with the Oracle plus Triangulate, yeah, you can end up doing very easily 6 damage. You got 3 chances to pull 6 damage, which costs already, which is scary for, you know. Well, you get the idea, right? And the other thing you can use with Shadow Block is Incendious, and that will shuffle 15 thingies into the deck, eruptions. And if he doesn't deal with them, then they become 3. And of course, again, you've got your spell damage. So you could do the same thing which you did with Asteroids. You could play the Oracle, play a spell, draw the what's it called? The eruptions, and they'll do 3 damage. Or if you've had the Incendious on board, which would have buffed the eruptions up to 3 damage, and then now they'll do 4 damage. Right? And also, just to mention this other spell damage card over here. Yeah, so the idea of this is you play this on the same turn which you want to draw a whole load of asteroids, and that will give you some extra damage with the asteroids. So instead of doing like 3 or 4 damage with the asteroids, it will do 4 or 5. Right? And obviously you get 2 Shadow Blocks, so if you get a really crazy game, you can Shadow Block into Bowlight and then the mini Shadow Block into Bowlight, which will shuffle. You won't get extra asteroids in your deck because that's a spell burst. Where is it? I've got the wrong card here. Yeah, the spell burst effect is the shuffling, so you won't triple the shuffling effect, but you will triple the increase in damage per asteroid effect. So instead of doing 2 damage, they do 5, and if you do mini Shadow Block into the other one, they do 8. So it's about 8 damage asteroid, and if you've got like the Oracle and the card draws, so that's 9 damage. So you could easily OTK someone once you've got your asteroids up to a ridiculous amount. You never get that far though, because it's very unlikely you've got the Shadow Block with the 2 Bowlights and you've got time to actually do all that. But it's something to think about, and it's probably very nice when you pull it off, especially against like a Death Knight, which has been building up huge amounts of health. And then you suddenly do this and boom, 9 damage or 10 damage if you've got a couple of spell damage cards on the board. Got 10 damage, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. You could do over 100 damage in one turn. I think I got a video where I survived a massive onslaught. I survived 70 damage with, I think it was Control Death Knight. That was an amazing game. I actually survived 70 plus damage in one turn from this asteroid deck, but it was very close. So you can see the power of the asteroid deck. If it can even get through like 60 plus health on a Death Knight, then yeah, you know you've got something very special. Right, anything else? Yeah, for mulligans, you want to generally keep your card draw, so you need the Rock Totem and your Miracle Salesman, because if you keep the other high value cards, which are the Ultraviolet Breaker, Moonstone Mauler, and Bowlight, you just run out of card draw. So instead, you have to play it like an OTK deck, like the old-fashioned Shadowwork OTK deck that you want to prioritize at all costs card draw, so you can draw into your combo pieces as soon as possible. And another one you can keep, especially if you've got 2 costs minion, is Greedy Partner. And you could also keep Ultraviolet Breaker, because it's just such a ridiculous tempo and value card. It can help you get back on board against an aggressive deck, plus start shuffling your asteroids. Once you shuffle your asteroids, then triangulates online. So it might be worth keeping that. And then maybe Murloc Growth in Moonstone, Mauler. But basically, the main ones you want to keep are Salesman and the Totem, Needle Totem, just so you get card draw going early. Cactus Cutter, maybe? I don't know. I'm not sure about Cactus Cutter, whether you want that as your card draw. Not as efficient. It's basically like a Miracle Salesman. Miracle Salesman is a 1-mana 2/2, which draws a card for an extra mana once it dies. And Cactus Cutter essentially does the same thing. It draws a spell. We've been looking for minions earlier on. Anyway, so that's a Miracle Salesman, a Greedy Partner, Needle Rock Totem. Those are your 3 main mulligans, and the Ultraviolet Breaker as well. I would keep, especially if you think it's going to be useful in controlling your board. And in slow decks, I'd keep the Bolide Behemoth just to make sure you get that big threat as early as possible, so your asteroids are doing much more damage throughout the game. Because if you wait too long, then you draw half your asteroids and they're only done 2 damage each against like a warrior which is stacking armor. Then it's a bit of a waste of all those asteroids. So you want to get them to a nice level of 3 and possibly 4 damage. If you've got the shadow block 5 or 6 as early as possible against those bigger meteor decks. Right, right, just small thing. Cactus Cutter, you won't get the taunt effect if you draw an asteroid, so bear that in mind. If you're playing that in order to put a taunt on the board, it's unlikely to happen unless you you haven't got asteroids in your deck yet. Then you can play this on turn 3 or turn 4 and be guaranteed a spell. But then again, you don't want to have the triangulate, so on a deck which doesn't have the asteroids. So yeah, you can work that out yourself. And that's this deck. It's a very good deck and it's powerful. It doesn't have any counters as far as I know. Even fast decks can't handle it. It won't win every game, but it's competitive in every game, which is the main thing. Right, thanks for watching, everyone. That's Asteroid Shaman. Let's have a very quick look at the win rate before we go. Yeah, and here's the deck tracker stats. 69% win rate. And in fact, since we've been playing it seriously, trying to climb, it's had 87.5% win rate. As you see, win, loss, win. That's 7 out of 8, which is 87.5%, so 88% rounded up. But the earlier versions, we lost a few games with them before. Maybe it was a different meta then, or maybe we just weren't used to the deck. But yeah, now the deck's on fire basically, and it's very, very powerful. So yeah, try it out. I will try to show you some other decks if we get the time, if we get around to it. Yeah, I mean, it's not so bad. It's not so bad at the meta at the moment. I do think this deck is overpowered, but I've got some very interesting fun decks to show as well, which are attrition decks, which can really grind out the opponent. We'll see. Okay, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.